comparing the effects of growing myotubes or muscle cells on a micropattern gelatin hydrogel environment versus a conventional plastic cell culture dish to compare the effects on analyzing the musculoskeletal system. Okay, so for an introduction, the skeletal muscle is composed of 40% of our total body mass. Its main functions are providing internal protection to our organs, giving our body structure and functional composition, and also helping to maintain homeostasis throughout the rest of our body. So doing analysis on the muscle system is very important so that we can figure out how to help prevent aging and help test certain types of drugs that can be used to prevent that. And so the whole original purpose of my project was to actually there's two phases. There's the engineering phase of actually growing out these cells through culturing them, but then there's also the analytical phase. But the analytical phase is actually cut off due to the process actually failing. We tried to analyze the myotubes through a green fluorescent protein, a blue tint protein, but the problem was it was too small, which proved the single cell analysis through gel electrophoresis failed. So that's why I'm actually just doing this on the engineering phase. So the way this kind of works is we use a silicon wafer, right? This is what causes the imprintation on something called PDMS. So PDMS is polydimethylsiloxane. This is the chemical we use to attract the imprintation onto the chemical, harden it so it's like a plastic, and then it transfers that onto the gelatin hydrogel, which causes the environment for the cells to grow and culture. Okay, so the actual silicon wafer that we use to imprint the pattern, which is the micro pattern that we're going to make, is about 10 microns width apart, and they're just single parallel lines. Because if you think about the structure of a muscle cell, they're like lines. Your chest, your legs, everything. They're like linear structures. So it's important that you can mimic that for proper analysis, right? Generally, the way studies have been done on the musculoskeletal system, skeletal muscle system, has been through in vivo, right? And so this is important. The difference between in vivo and in vitro studies are in vitro is using the tissues and cells of a particular organism under a cell culture dish to study it. But using in vivo means you're using the actual whole organism to study it. So it can be costly, just ethical, there's several different reasons, and it can be more complicated. But if you can actually just take the in vitro part of it, just like studying the cells, and be able to study that for the whole organism, it would be a lot easier. And so that was the whole purpose of this. We're trying to make in vitro studies of the muscle cells possible. So the way we actually culture these are the type of cells that we use are called C2C12 cells, right? These are cells that we extract from mice, and they have two phases. The first phase is the myoblast phase. That's how the cell's origin occurs, and then we have the myotube phase when it passes differentiation. So when we actually start to mature these myoblasts, what we do is we give it a growth medium. This growth medium allows the cells to reach something called max confluency. Max confluency, or 100% confluency, means that these cells are near fusion. So they're about to fuse to become multinucleated myotubes, right? Because if you know what muscle cells are, they're multinucleated, but they haven't gotten past that stage yet because you need to apply with the differential medium. Once you apply with the differential medium, it can get past that stage and become long multinucleated myotubes. This is what you want for analysis. So the two types of environments we're studying is a conventional plastic cell culture dish, and then micropattern gelatin hydrogel. So the way we created this gelatin hydrogel was, the first step was the PDMS stamp fabrication. We took a Silgren 184 elastomer base and combined it with a curing agent with about 35 grams of the elastomer base with like 3.5 grams of the curing agent, and we combined this to create the PDMS, and we poured this over the silicon wafer. But we had an issue because what happens is you need to preserve the thickness of the actual stamp so that you can actually be able to cut into your desired sizes. Because we're going to eventually cut them into small squares so that we can put the gelatin hydrogel over the glass cover slip and then put the stamps over them. But the problem with this was when we were making the PDMS, it starts off as a viscous liquid and starts to pour over the sides. So we made a contraption like this. It's kind of distorted, but it's like a foil boat which contains the PDMS inside, and allows for it to maintain its thickness so that we can cut it into small squares. Once we've done that, we move on to the next stage, which is activating the glass cover slips. This allows for optimal sanitization. We need optimal sanitization because we are, growing muscle cells. We're growing like organic products. We can't have any impurities on it. So we go through a cleansing process of washing it in an NaOH solution, and deionized water, and 3 other cleansing agents such as apatite, glutaraldehyde, and ethanol. And so the last step is actually creating the gelatin hydrogel environment, and we do this by combining 2 chemicals. The first chemical is the porcine type A gelatin. We combine that with deionized water to create the first chemical. The second chemical is microbial transglutaminase combined with deionized water. Once we have these 2, we combine them together, vortex them in a 2 ml Eppendorf tube, and then we have our solution. And once we have this solution, we start micropipetting about 80 microliters of this onto each of the glass cover slips that we washed over and over again. And once we've done that, we're able to post the PDMS stamps that we cut into the small squares in. So we created like a sandwich, right? You have the glass cover slips, the gelatin hydrogel, then the stamp, and then now we have that. We leave it overnight so that the gelatin hydrogel can have the imprintation on it. The next day, we peel off the stamps, and then this will give us the environment we want to grow these cells. All right, so that's the method. To actually getting to the part where we start, let me actually explain what the effects of are using a micropattern gelatin hydrogel. When you normally use a conventional plastic cell culture dish, the myotubes delaminate within 1 week. Delamination just basically means it detaches from the surface of the cell culture dish within like a week, right? And the problem with that is the cells actually need to stick to the bottom of the environment you're using to absorb all the nutrients from the growth medium and from the differential medium. But because it delaminates within 1 week, it doesn't have enough time to mature, and therefore it has a lot of issues. One of the main issues is that it doesn't have enough time to mature. What this means is that it compromises its length, it compromises its structural integrity because it grows out in a random orientation. You can actually kind of see what it looks like right here. So within 3 to 4 days of the myoblast growing, so like these linear strands right here, those are the myotubes. And then all the other small dots, you can't really see them, but like there's like smaller pieces of dots. Those are the myoblasts. 3 to 4 days of growing them in a plastic cell culture dish only caused there to be like a small amount of myotubes in comparison in ratio to the amount of myoblasts. And then within 3 to 4 days right after that, you can see major signs of delamination because there's a decreased amount of myotubes and myoblasts. So that just shows that using plastic isn't that effective. But now that we've applied this micropattern gelatin hydrogel environment, you can see within 1 week of differentiation, there's a significant increase in the amount of myotubes. Structural integrity exists throughout the entire environment. You can see that the myotube length is maximized, and there's continued signs of growth and maturity. And you can see within a week right after that, you see no signs of delamination still. You also see a further increase in the myotube count, a decrease in the myoblast amount, and then myotubes have shown no signs of delamination and still more signs of maturity. So what does this tell us, right? From this, we can kind of say that right here, in vitro analysis of muscle cells through using the environment of micropattern gelatin hydrogels is now possible and very effective. And also, we can use this to study the circadian rhythm, right? Because, again, my whole lab's purpose was to eventually study the circadian rhythm, but we never got to that. But the purpose of doing all this was to eventually lead to analyzing these cells and being able to see if we can knock off or knock out certain genes and to see how that would affect the phenotypic variation inside of like mice. And yeah, that's about it. I'd like to thank my PI, Dr. Karen Esser, and my postdoc, Ji Ping, for really helping me in this whole process.